Okay, yay. It's always great when I get that live, and we're live. So, hello, and so welcome. So, we're doing this live in my business page. And so, if you're not aware, I do have a private group called the Empowered Living Program. You can, find a way to join that group because we're going to share it in our group after this eventually. So, as people start to pop on, I'm excited today because I have an expert here with us. So, Kathy Grassett. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to be talking today about people who are miserable in their jobs. They're feeling depressed. They're anxious. They dread going to work. Sunday morning they wake up and they're dreading work already on Monday morning because they had a wonderful weekend. They got some freedom. They got some rest. They got some relaxation. And, the stresses of their job are just, wreaking havoc on their life. And so Kathy is a wellness empowerment career coach. Yes, you want to
a little of all of that.
a little all of that, right? And she works with people who want to take the next step. They want to leave their job, but they're afraid because it's a great job, it's got great benefits, it's supporting their lifestyle, but they're miserable, and it's affecting their life in so many ways. It's affecting their health, it's affecting their relationships, it's affecting their parenting. And Kathy has a fantastic story. She has gone through this transformation herself. Obviously, that's what makes her an expert in this, and how she's helping people to do the same in their life, because I know it's possible. And I live on the other end of that. I live an entrepreneurial lifestyle, so I know the benefits of that kind of lifestyle. But it can be, a big leap for a lot of people. And so, Kathy, tell us, how you got into this.
Sure. Hello,
Thanks for
everybody.
being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. Um, so yeah, so I'm your average midlifer, wife, mom to three boys. And for my 20s and 30s, I was your climber of the proverbial corporate career ladder. That's what I wanted to do. I'm a type A, I'm a workaholic, and I just wanted to rise to the top. And I thrived on the fast pace and the deadlines and multiple projects and working with people across the globe. And I loved it. I fully expected that I was going to retire doing that work. I loved my career until I didn't. So after I turned 40, things changed. And right, your priorities change as you get older. I had married, I had the three kids, my priorities had shifted. All sorts of things just kind of came at me. There was things internal to the work environment that I didn't agree with anymore. There was an internal feeling within myself that I just didn't belong there anymore. I didn't enjoy the work anymore. I just didn't. I didn't see myself doing it anymore. Couldn't see myself doing it for any longer in my career. I didn't want to get promoted. I didn't want to move on to the next best thing. And when I looked for other jobs, I turned my nose up at anything that looked remotely like what I did. And I'm like, well, what is this telling me? So I was miserable. And some of the things that Lori mentioned, I suffered them all. I have extreme anxiety on the weekends and Sunday afternoon, that dread in the pit of your stomach every morning when I would walk into work. um, Even so far as maybe some mild depression. I'm not clinically diagnosed, but I would probably go so far as to say that I was mildly depressed. I wanted to throw up literally every day. I felt so uneasy at work, and it all just spilled over into my personal life. I brought it home with me. There was no shut off valve, right? I snapped at my kids every night for no other reason than they looked at me. And so forget helping them with their homework and doing the things that moms are supposed to do when you get home. I snapped at them. I couldn't deal with it. I had a meltdown. I was jealous of my husband, angry at him if he even had just an okay day, because even an okay day was way better than mine. So I didn't want to talk to him because I didn't want to find out that he had an okay day, and I didn't want to talk about it because I was so jealous and angry that I couldn't have that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go in the evenings, before I started my role as mom, I would go into the bathroom and cry just to release the pressure of knowing that I am somewhere where I do not belong. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And I couldn't figure out how to get out of it because I had so much self-doubt. I had so much I had so much in this job. I had what many considered to be a dream job. Thousands of people vie for the types of positions that I had every time a position goes up in this company. I had a six-figure career. I had two-digit bonuses or double-digit bonuses every year. I had vacation and benefits, and I had a pension because I had been there for 18 years. So it was back when companies were still offering a pension. So I just had this mental war of, I can't do this anymore. I need out. But oh my gosh, this is a dream job and it's safe and it's comfortable and it's secure and it pays the bills. But I
Mm-hmm.
hate it. I can't live
The
like this,
golden
right?
handcuffs,
So
right?
back and forth. And I stayed stuck like that for at least a good 2 years. And that's just no way to live, right?
2 years.
Two
Wow.
years doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, I decided enough is enough. And really, it's about the pain that you're in has to be greater than the what you're leaving behind. And up for those two
Mm-hmm.
years, the pain apparently, I would say different, but apparently in my mind, it wasn't worth more than what staying than the work I would have to do to get out of this job. But ultimately, things shifted and the pain was therefore more, it was greater than what I was in, than the work that I'd have to do to get out of it. And the tides turned and I got out of it. So long story short, I planned my escape, my corporate escape plan, and I did it well before I ever left my corporate career, a good 14 months to be exact. I went back to school and I got a master's degree in health and wellness, completely different because I was in IT. I was an IT person. I went and became a certified wellness coach. And I decided, you know what, I'm done working for somebody else and working for their vision and working with people that don't have the integrity and the values that I do. So I'm going to create my own company. And I didn't know what it was going to be at the time. And then I created my own company. And then when I thought, what am I going to do with it? I decided, you know what, I'm going to help women like I was 3 years ago and get through that pain and that turmoil in their head and help them get out of their safe, comfortable, stable, yet miserable careers and help them move on to more rewarding professional adventures too. That became
Yeah.
my calling, and that's now what I do.
It's such working from the opposite of what I do, Kathy, which is why I love it. It's because sometimes people have issues in their relationships and that spills over into their job, where their job is affected because they're miserable from, from the get-go, from their relationship. And it can be vice versa. But I love how, you can have, a wonderful family, wonderful children, a wonderful lifestyle, a wonderful all these things. And the sheer, um, pressure of a job wreak havoc on that beautiful, family and lifestyle, right? And it's funny because as I learn and as I shift and as I grow myself personally, I know as women that, we have that masculine drive. We have that masculine ambition in us, right? But it comes to a point where we tip over into that, to the point where it starts to rob us of that natural innate um, nurturing and family oriented receiving, instead of like giving to the man. Right, like, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like, where we need to receive, we need to find that balance, like we need to go home and give to our family, but we've completely just emptied the pot at work, right? So it's that give and take when it comes to career and family, and the give and the back and forth. And I think that a lot of women struggle, like they have the ambition, they get to that level of success, and then they're like, oh my gosh, this is destroying my life, like this is not where I want to be, but yet um can't make that leap. because, they're stuck on the money, and they're stuck on the benefits and the safety and security, and women need safety and security, right? And so some of the problems that you touched upon, right? Like, so what did you do? Like, how did you end up leaving your job?
Well, my job was, so let me just say, I don't regret the job that I had at all. So it's not about bashing the job that I had. I
Hmm.
don't regret it in the least, because I learned and grew and learned such valuable pearls of wisdom that got me where I am today.
Hmm.
So it
For
was
sure.
beautiful. So my job in the corporate America was an IT leader, basically overseeing the implementation of multi-million dollar global software projects. Now, what do you have to do in a software project? Well, you have a vision of what that technology is supposed to do. So then you have to figure out what it has to do, what are the requirements, and then you have to design it, and then you have to plan for it. You have to pull in resources to fund it and all that sort of thing. And then you have to kind of test things and test the waters and implement, and you go from vision to a final product. And I used to think that I did a complete 180 when I changed careers, and I realized that that is further from the truth. That actually
Hmm.
everything I learned in my career applies to my personal life. I had a
Right.
vision
Hmm.
and I needed to get to an end result. And all the steps that I used in my professional life to get from point A to point B, I was able to translate into a personal endeavor. And so I created a plan. I had my vision. I got clear. I did a lot of soul searching and a lot of fleshing out and reflection. And I created a plan and I executed. And this is what I do. This is the masculine energy that you talked about. This is the go, 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 the structural, the procedural. And as I was
Like you're
in the,
reverse engineering it, right? Like,
yes, I reverse
yeah, yeah,
engineered
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And I did it, and I executed. I got over the money. I got over the self-doubt. I got over the, what do I do? How do I do it? I just did it. And I leveraged my background to do it. And then as I figured out how I could help others, I'm like, that's the process that I can help others with. But that's again the very masculine energy, the how to,
Hmm.
the goal
Hmm.
setting, the
Hmm.
planning, all of that's the very masculine. But I realized as I transitioned from corporate into entrepreneurship, I felt a shift of energy. And that shift became more on the feminine side. And just little things like the way I dressed, because I had a dress code, right? So I was very modest, very professional, and my dress, the way I wanted to dress changed. My jewelry selection, I mean, just little shifts like that I felt the power was, becoming more in alignment. So I thought, I can't help women with just the goal setting and the planning and the risk minimization and those sorts of things. I have to do it in such a way where we're rebalancing the masculine and feminine energies as well. Because if you're in corporate America, so you're my soulmate client, right? You're over 40, you're in corporate America, you can't get out. You're probably more dominant in the masculine energy, because it's
Hmm.
all about deadlines and getting stuff done and go, 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 and structural and procedural. Well, it's time to come back into alignment and bring rein in that masculine energy and dial up the feminine energy and get back into our passions and our dreams and our right, our intuitive self, right? And so I wanted to create something that blends both. So it's the process, it's the procedural, it's the how to, it's getting clarity, right? But it's also you have to manage your stress, you have to take care of yourself with self-care, there's mindfulness aspects. So I kind of blended the two together based on my experience, my knowledge, my education, and the whole, like I said, the whole overarching experience of getting out of my own miserable career and totally doing something new and just getting it all done. And now I just want to help other people do it too.
So how long did it take you really from like, I'm going to do this to actually, handing in the resignation?
Okay, so there's two phases. So that one is from the point I resolved to leave the career to the day I submitted my resignation was 14 months.
Okay.
Right?
So
This
it
is
wasn't
work.
just I'm out of here, take
Right?
this job and shove it. It was, what?
Exactly. And that's the premise of this program is
Yeah.
when you are in desperation and in pain and just trying to leave and get out, your decisions tend to be more harsh and rushed and knee-jerk reactions. But when you have a vision and you're running towards something as opposed to running from something, then your decisions are more thoughtful and strategic and thought-based, right? And so
Is it like why based? Do you look at it like, okay, why am I doing this? What do I want out of this? And then kind of like you kind of keep them, kind of focused on, okay, it's gonna be, you gotta be patient, right? Like, because the last thing you want to do, and trust me, we went through this too with my husband when he left his job, and it was not we didn't have a 14-month, like, we should have done that. Kathy should have been in my life like 3 years ago. But so, there's a process. So you need patience. So how do you maintain patience when you just want to go, you hate your job?
um, well, doing it on my own is part of what caused me to take so long, because I had to fight through the self-doubts and the what do I do and how do I do it, and I had to fumble through it myself. So I think,
Oh, good
right,
point. Yeah.
going, I think the key is to not let it get so bad that you are have that you do have extreme anxiety and that you're depressed and you're like me, and then my rock bottom was ending up in the emergency room thinking I was having a heart attack, and I wasn't. I was stressed. That was my
Mm,
rock bottom moment. The key is to not let it get that bad so that you're not having to be in, act in desperation. So it's kind of acknowledging the signs early on and start kind of thinking through, oh, how would I plan to exit, and getting the wheels in motion. So it took me that long because I fumbled through it. I was fighting through the self-doubt. I didn't have help. I didn't have someone guiding me, and it took that long, right? But it also, what helped me is the fact that I was doing something. The fact that I
right.
was actually taking a step, even knowing it was going to take me a long time to get there,
Mm-hmm.
actually made the work a little less bearable, because I went in every day saying, I'm doing something about it. I'm here and it sucks. I know it does, but I'm doing something about it. I'm taking control. I'm executing my plan, and it's far off, but I'm going to get there. And it made it just a little bit more bearable to get through the day, instead of kind of sitting there wallowing in this sucks. I can't do anything about it. Of course it does.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's going to change if you don't take action. So taking
All of a
action,
sudden, yeah, it's like that choice all of a sudden gives women the empowerment, right? Like, it's like you have a choice here. Like, you could just quit, but you're choosing not to quit because there's something better. We just got to work a little bit. And I love the fact that, yes, have a coach, because you're for sure you're going to get to where you want to get to sooner, faster. And I also think that the program that you have, because it deals with mindset and the wellness and take care of yourself, that, like you said, how it makes it a little less bearable. I think it makes it a lot more bearable, right? Like, do you think your program would even help, let's say at the end of it, a woman finds her joy and her soul and whatever else and stays in her job? Is that okay? Like, they don't have to leave their job if all of a sudden they find happiness within themselves and they take the self-care, and they're all of a sudden able to manage all the stress, right?
right? Yeah, part of this, so the underlying root cause of all of this, of why people are staying stuck, is fear.
Right.
Right? And I have found that there are three primary fears that keep us stuck. And that's the fear of the unknown, the
Mm-hmm.
fear of failure, and the
Mm-hmm.
fear of loss of self-dominance. And that
Mm-hmm.
third one is what speaks to what you just said. The fear of loss of self-dominance is when you just kind of throw your hands up and you feel like you don't have control of what's going on. Everything's being done to you.
Right.
And even when you're in your career, you still have some choices. And I do talk to a lot of women who are like, I don't know if I need to leave. I'm miserable, but I don't know if leaving is the answer. Well, have you tried to influence your environment to get what you want and to get where you need to be? Well, no. Okay, well, then you're making a choice to stay stuck and be miserable. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Make a choice to try to influence the environment, to shape it into the way that you want it to be, to get out of the misery and be more satisfied and fulfilled. And
Right.
so that's actually one of the exercises in my program, is before we even think about leaving, that may not even be what you need. let's think through, can you achieve what you want to achieve staying right where you are? Because for some women, and I do have one client that she realized that she she loved overall what her company stood for. She just didn't
Mm-hmm.
like her in the individual team that she was on and the environment she was in. Well, can you influence it? If yes, great. If not, then maybe it's time to think about the next step.
Yeah, giving people the choice that, you can create your own reality, and having someone support you or give you the tools, right? Especially someone who comes from that environment, like you came from a corporate. So you know how corporate works, right? You know that there's red tape and there's time and there's, all these things. There's a lot of no's. And sometimes, yeah, like that self-doubt, or that we think we can't. And it's like, well, how do you know? Like, have you tried? Like, and giving people the skills and tools and the mindset to empower them to look, you're either going to, yeah, make a change here or make a change here. Because whether you stay in your job, and I say this in relationships too, so it's hand in hand, whether you stay or you go, you've got work to do. So if you stay in your job, you're going to have to learn how to communicate better and set boundaries with the people that you work with, just like you would in a relationship. Or if you go, okay, you need to work to do, because you have to figure out how you're going to replace that income, and how are you going to do that. And that in itself is a learning curve. And not everybody is, meant to be entrepreneurial, right? Some people really need that safety and security. Entrepreneurial is really for risk takers. And it took me a long time and a lot of, overcoming a lot of, boundaries to get to where I am today, where Tyler and I are both self-employed, and, we had to overcome a lot of, challenges to get here. Right. And so I love how well-rounded your program is, and that it can give people. So look at that. Like you can, so at the end of the day, you're going to not be miserable, maybe.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah, that's the goal, right? So at the end of the day, we want to get to a place in our job and our career and our life where we're not miserable, we're not stressed, we're not feeling anxious, we're managing our emotions, we're taking charge of our outcomes, of our destiny, or whatever, right? Um, because you had said it can be done. And I believe that it can be done too. You need support, you need guidance, you need a mentor, you need a coach. Like nothing great ever happens without a coach or a mentor or someone showing you the way, right?
Absolutely. Even coaches need coaches, right?
Right. Oh, we know that. That's how Kathy and I met, actually. We're in the same business building program. So, and
It's
we've
the,
been from the beginning, eh,
yeah,
Kathy?
yeah. It's the secret sauce that takes you to the next level. And your
Mm-hmm.
secret sauce is different than my secret sauce. It's based on where you
Mm-hmm.
are in your life at any given moment. But so many of us just need that guidance and that support and that accountability and help them bust through the doubts and how to achieve or overcome obstacles and barriers and think through setbacks and right. It's
Yeah.
any project, whether it's career, relationships, anything. And if you treat it like a project from start to finish, um, that's that's how I leveraged my professional background. Is there's a start and there's finish, and there's ups and downs along the way. And how do you overcome them? Well, changing your career really is no different, and it's just translating the terminology a little bit. And obviously there's different issues and different obstacles, but it's overcoming the fear and what's holding you back from doing it, and acknowledging what's holding you back, because a lot of times women don't know what's holding them back, and what they say is holding them back are just excuses and things
Right.
and it's just fear manifesting themselves, right?
Yeah, because I'm
um,
sure I'm sure you had, obviously conversations with your husband about, like this is just not working for me. I'm just unhappy. Like, so because I bet a lot of women fear that maybe they're not going to be supported, like their household isn't going to be able to, withstand that kind of even temporary, salary cut. Like what kind of conversations were you having with your husband? Like how did he support you through that?
um,
Or how did you get him to support you through that?
I didn't have to get them. It's one of those things where I didn't talk about it for a long time, just because I felt so alone in my misery and that no one would understand. like I said, I got to that threshold. I crossed over that threshold where the change has to be easier than staying the same. And I just told him, I said, I can't do this anymore. And my conversation with him was very, very easy. And he said, I want you to be happy. Do what you got to do.
Oh,
And we had conversations later on where we were trying to describe how I was before in my misery, and he told me, he came right out. He used some choice words about how horrible I was at home, right? Because I was horrible to him, and I was horrible to my kids, and he realized that. So in his mind, anything that made me a happier wife and mom was going to benefit him and the kids. And he was willing to allow me to do anything I needed to do to support that. But he also knew of the steps that I was taking. He knew I wasn't taking a blind leap of faith and just going in one day and shoving my resignation letter across the table and saying sayonara and having nowhere else to go and no plan. You know, right? He knows what my professional background is, and he knew I had a very intricate plan for exactly how I needed to do what I needed to do. So, and we had, we had gone through the finances, and so he knew that I was doing it safely. That's the key. Is that's
hmm,
part of my tagline is helping women safely move on to the next adventure, because
that's critical for
there is,
women.
right, there is
Yeah.
money issues, there is relationship issues, and you have to address them as part of your plan. So
Hmm.
he saw that my plan had thought through everything, and it was meticulous and well thought out, and I had accounted for everything. So he was comfortable that we were going to be fine if I executed this plan.
Right, because
So
that was something that you showed him proof of. You were like, hey, like, this is, if I do this, we're going to be okay. Like, is this cool? Right. Like, and I think that that's fantastic. And you know what? I think women, I know, women, we tend to project, and I know we tend to think that our men are not understanding us, and our men are not seeing us, and our men are not, making us feel safe and secure. I want to reiterate that that's a real big internal job. It's our duty to find the things that are going to do that for us. But really, ultimately, your partner, your spouse, unless he's a real piece of work, they only want you to be happy at the end of the day. They're like, please God. And I've done this because when I've talked to husbands with women who've wanted to work with me, I've talked to the husbands because they're like, I don't think my husband's going to pay for this or afford this or whatever else. And I'm like, listen, buddy, like, if your wife is happy, you're going to be happy. And he's like, done. Like, just please
exactly.
put a smile on her face again, because they're trying. Maybe they're not trying in the best ways, right? Like, there's always work there. But, at the end of the day, women, our joy, our happiness, we carry the household. We are the leading vibration. I was going to say vibrator, but I meant vibration, like the energy. Like,
Yes.
we are we set the tone for the house. So if you're stuck and miserable in your job and you're bringing that home every day, or you're dreading it as you get ready, like, that's vibration, this low vibration. And that's what irritates us. It's not our kids, it's not our husband. Sometimes it's them, but for the most part, there's always underlying currents. It's like, you're not being fulfilled in some way, shape, or form, right? So, our husbands, believe it or not, only want to support us. Just find it, pick it,
Exactly.
do it, take, because they're very action oriented. So they're like, do whatever it takes. And we're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
Right.
And that's the other aspect to it. It's understanding that they do only want the best of you, provided you
Yeah.
married well, right? But the other part
Mm-hmm.
is not taking them the problem and saying, I'm just so miserable. What am I going to do about it? Because they don't know what you need to do about it. They don't know
No.
you.
And they just want you to, they just fix it. That's a man's thing is,
They
well,
want to
I'll
fix
do
it.
this with it, quit your job. And you're like, but I can't, because we need the
Right.
money and there's benefits and there's all these things. And they're
And
like,
they don't want to deal with that. They don't go into that mental war. It's either yes or no, do it or don't. So
yes, they're very
when you
logical
bring
and we're
them
more
the
emotional.
solution,
Yeah.
you bring them, "Hey, this is what I want to do, and I've thought it out. Do you have any questions? Nope. What make you happy? Yep. Good. Go. right?
Do
They don't
it.
want to hear you
Do
wallow.
it. Do what makes you happy.
Right.
Wonderful. So what are some of the solutions? So what are some of the next steps that, women kind of need to take? And I know you have a gift for us, like you have a lead magnet. Is that the first step to take? Like, what is it? The tips to overcome?
I don't remember. Brevity is not my strong point, so it's a really long title. But essentially, it's tips to overcome 5 of the biggest self doubts that you may have when trying to leave your corporate career. So yes, I will offer.
Great. So you want to leave and you're not sure. So the first solution is obviously Kathy's going to give us, a fantastic resource that you can get access to. And then of course, tell us a little bit about your solution, your product. Like, how do you help people specifically, Kathy?
Yep, I'll share a little bit right now, but I will plug that I do have a masterclass coming up on Wednesday, August 26th at 7 o'clock Eastern.
What's that? What's the master class? Is that
The three
like a
secrets
webinar?
of how I finally left my miserable 6-figure career and pursued a more rewarding professional adventure without taking that blind leap of faith. So I
Oh
can
yeah, sign up for that for sure.
But
Yeah.
essentially, it's overcoming that fear, right? The root of why you're stuck is fear. And so I talked about the 3 fears. It's the fear of the unknown, it's the fear of failure, and the fear of loss of self-dominance. So first off, it's understanding what fear is driving you. It could be one, it could be all. For me, it was all of them, and probably even more so. But understanding that fear is a useless, irrational illusion that you've created in your mind, because our mind tries to protect us from change. Because
Yeah.
change could be hard, it could be uncomfortable, right? And so our mind is designed to keep us where we are. And fears are those things that we make up in our mind to keep us from changing. So it's understanding what are the fears that are the root of your being stuck. Address it, acknowledge it, name it, get comfortable with it, understand when it rears its ugly head, and be able to know when it's coming up for you. But then it's addressing each of them head on. So fear of the unknown, right? The unknown is the absence of information. So what do? We have an absence of information. We seek, we research, we discover, we uncover, we reveal. We go after the information we need to make the known or unknown known. So it's all about seeking clarity. Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? How do I want to get there? It's uncovering and taking time to reflect and getting clear on what it is that you want to do next, right?
So beautiful because,
Fear,
getting to know yourself, like this is self exploration really at the, we get to a point where, okay, we've got the success, we've got the whatever, but you're like, no, this isn't it. I thought it was
yeah,
it.
when we're career women, we're go, go, go. And we
Yeah.
rarely take the time to stop and say, is what I'm doing right now still aligned with my priorities? And do I still enjoy who I'm working with and who I'm working for and what I'm doing? And we don't often take the time to do that because life is busy. So we just keep going,
Yes.
right? So it's taking the pause to reflect, right?
And
And
be.
be clear on what the next step is. And then there's the fear of failure. And the fear of failure is really a lack of self-esteem, is
Yeah.
really what it comes down to. And the flip to that is the fear of success, right? You've achieved some level of success and you're afraid that you're not going to be able to achieve that same level of success, right?
Right. Yep.
So how do you bridge that gap? Well, you build up your confidence, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
mindset work. It's understanding that you are a badass and can do anything you want,
That's
and it's
right.
right, it's implementing the tools and techniques to make you understand that and believe it and live it every day. And that's how you get over the fear of failure. The fear of loss of self-dominance, which is a fear that's more common with people who have addictions or have been diagnosed with cancer. It's the I can't control this. I have to succumb. There's nothing I can do.
This
But
is
there's some
bigger than
relevance.
me. Yeah.
There's some relevance here because
Mm-hmm.
you are venturing into the unknown. You don't know what to expect. You can't control what you can't see. And how am I going to get all this work done? Because I'm already busy. I already have a too full of a plate. I can't execute. What can I do? Well, you have to take some control. So control is really about prioritizing and structuring your day and right and just executing your plan and creating a structure and an environment within which you can go and just get everything that you need to get done, and how you overcome obstacles and maybe how you pivot and how you take a detour, because ups and downs along the way. So it's really about overcoming those three fears, right? So getting clarity, to take care of the fear of the unknown. It's getting confidence, which takes care of the fear of failure. And it's implementing control, which takes care of the fear of loss of self dominance. And so essentially that's what I help women over 40 do, is I implement those things so that they can get well on their way to their next professional adventure and get out of that misery.
And so talk to me now, Kathy, like really about like your journey and like, from the day you decided you resolved, to do this and so it's obviously 14 months to leave your job and, however, I've known you now, it's almost, we're coming up like 2 years,
And a couple
right?
years after that,
So,
yep.
right. And it's like, what's life like now for you?
Oh.
Besides the
So
homeschooling part.
oh my goodness, so many things. Well, I mean, I am no longer following someone else's vision. I'm following my own vision. I'm doing what I want to do, right? So the work that I am putting in is benefiting me directly. And
It's
not,
still
not,
work, right? It's not
not,
like you're
yeah,
just sitting
still
at
work.
home
In
eating
fact, it's
bonbons right? Like you're working, yeah.
more work actually. It's more.
Yeah.
But and I'm not just talking about from a monetary perspective. I'm talking about I can explicitly see the connection that I'm making and talk to those who I'm benefiting, right? It's tangible. I feel connected. I feel I have a purpose. I have, right? I can see and feel and hear from these women. Whereas before, I implemented software, right? So I never talked to the person that ended up using the software. So
Right.
there's a disconnect. I don't see who's using my stuff. So there's
Right.
there's no purpose. So it's the wow, it's a purpose. It's I feel connected to what I'm doing and I see the results and I see and I hear, right? And I feel the connection and the benefits that I'm delivering.
And your
Um,
family unit and your kids and you know what I mean? Like of course you probably still snap at them, but it's not this you're
yeah.
not coming from
It's because of them, not because of me at that point,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Totally different person at home.
Yeah.
So much more laid back. I
What
asked
is
my
your what
kids,
has your husband said?
oh, well, like I said, when we had that conversation, he's like, yeah, you were a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I was. But now he comes home and I ask him about his day because I'm not worried what he's going to say. Because even if he had a great day, doesn't bother me anymore because I know now my day was pretty damn good too. Right. And we
Nice.
now talk back and forth because he ended up going into the same field that I actually left. So we actually have conversations. I had this happen at work. Oh, when that happened to me. So we have conversations. I'm helping my kids with homework. There was a time where I'd be like, I can't do this. I'd slam the binder shut, hand it back. I'm like, I'm not doing this tonight. You're gonna just go to school and tell your teacher that we didn't have time. I have time to help them with their homework. And yes, current state and time, I did have the choice to keep my kids home. I had that choice. So a lot of what I did was to be there for my family, to be more flexible and available because kids require, right, appointments, doctor's appointments, field trips and all that stuff. And those things I always felt guilty doing because I was missing work at the office. And oh, what was piling up for me and waiting for me when I got back? I don't have that guilt anymore. I have the freedom to work my schedule around them. And yes, I had the choice to keep them home. Before, I would not have had that choice. The choice would have been made for me. They would have had to gone back face
Mm-hmm.
to face. They are all actually right now a couple rooms over. We have a classroom in our formal dining room. They're all at their own desk and they're doing their work and they're here at home and I'm working around them. I got my last kid lunch right before this webinar or for this
Mm-hmm.
talk, and I'll go out and check on them when I'm done. So it's the choice. I have choices. I have the flexibility, the freedom to do what I want, how I want, work with whom I want, right? No being forced into those toxic relationships because you have to get the job done. There's nobody else have to do it. You have to rely on them. I have a choice to pursue relationships both from a client perspective and a colleague perspective that are full of integrity and value. And I surround myself with people that are going to make me a better person and push me forward instead of make me want to go cry in the bathroom at the end of the night, right? It's all
Right.
about the choices and doing what I want. Is it work? Absolutely. Like I said, it's probably more work now than it was in my 9 to 5, which is, ladies, we all know is more than 9 to 5, right? But because it's built around my life the way I want it to be built, and because I'm doing what I want with a purpose and a drive for something better for myself, it doesn't feel like work,
I
right?
love this. I love to hear this side of it because when we talk, we're always like so business, right? Like, how's it going? What's the name? Right? Like, we never get to really talk to the actually what we do side, like as coaches from this aspect. So I'm so excited for you. I love it. I'm so happy for you. And so for those of you guys who want to get the tips to overcome the five, what were
Self
they
doubt.
again? Self-doubt, and to learn more about how to overcome fear to making the transition to leave your job and to do something different or make your job even just better. I think absolutely reach out to Kathy. So just leave a comment, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so
And I
much,
will say
Kathy.
really
Yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
I'm giving away a freebie in my masterclass,
Hmm.
actually money mindset tips when reinventing your career. Because
Perfect.
two of the biggest challenges that people face is the self-doubt, which is my lead magnet, and money. And so money is my freebie in my masterclass in money mindset tips for reinventing your career.
Money mindset tips. So just sign up. So reach out to Kathy. She'll send you the details, or you could just put the link in the
I'll post
comments,
it after, yeah.
and then or also send them to me. So because people will text me and be like, Lori, da, da, da. So I'll just give it to them directly from you. So thank you, Kathy, for being here. Don't go anywhere because I'm going to sign off the live. Thanks for watching, guys. I know we had some eyeballs on here, but nobody asked any questions, so that's good. And but if you want to ask anything, just let us know. We'll be here. Bye.
Thank you for having me. Thanks,
You're so
everyone.
welcome.